Station. Welcome everybody back to Comics Kings. This is Brandon.
Stefan.
And this is your guys' favorite show, Christ on Infinite Rants. This is where we take just a regular comic book conversation, go into depth, kind of like you're at the comic shop. And we're just really excited to have you guys here. We have a great topic for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the most underrated characters in the Star Wars universe. Over the past few years, we've seen Star Wars kind of culminating everything from their animated series and extending that into their live action and tying it into the larger mythos that the first 6 movies set up, and some are like Rogue One and Solo. So we're kind of connecting the dots and everything. So now's a great opportunity to look back and say, which characters do we need to show a little bit more love to? As always, Steph is here. My brother, how are you doing today?
Good. A little tired, but ready to show some love.
Exactly. The Force is strong with you. Force is strong. Starting off right off the bat, I kind of want to talk about a character that I don't think gets a whole lot of love. Like, everybody knows that he exists, obviously, because he stands out in the crowd, because his lightsaber is different than everyone else's, and that is Mace Windu. I honestly think Mace Windu is the most slept on Jedi. Like, everyone thinks he's dope and everything, but he kind of, everyone knows he's the most powerful Jedi in the world. He's more powerful than Anakin, much better fighting skills, but we've really only seen that in the comics. We never really got a whole lot of look at Mace Windu in the movies. Live
action, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got one scene and he won the fight, but he ended up like kind of losing the war. So I wasn't exactly as impressed with that. He created a whole form with Sora Bulk in the comics, and that was basically it was like tap dancing with the dark side, you know? He was like getting really flirty with the dark side. And it's a one shot. It's just called like a Mace Windu. It is really good. It was a Dark Horse book. I think I recommend. I
was gonna say, was that the one you were telling me about?
Yeah, and it's really dope. Like, the whole premise of that book is there are a bunch of rogue Jedis who don't agree with the Clone Wars. So Mace Windu and Quinlan Vos and Aayla Secura are sent out to investigate, and it's the person who created the form with Mace. So someone who's arguably on the same level as him, right? So seeing them go toe-to-toe, and it's just like anything. You've never seen another Jedi use those moves because they're Maces, and no other Jedi has come up with a powerful sparring form like that. So Mace has a very distinct style. He's a great leader. We've seen him in conversations, and the other Jedi have the utmost respect. He is Yoda's number 2, and I think people overlook everything about Mace Windu.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't want to say it's overlooked, but maybe overlooked. But the fact the man had Palpatine down, if it wasn't for Anakin interfering, Palpatine would have been done. You know, He had him on the ropes, and that speaks a lot to how strong the Force was with him, and like you said, his fighting prowess and all that, the aggression.
Right. Well, a few scenes later, we even saw Yoda, who had no help. Mace Windu had 4 other Jedi. I mean, yeah, they died in the first 30 seconds, but you know what? One-man army. Yoda nearly lost to Palpatine. Like, if it came down to it, you know, he would have lost by this much, but that's still, you know, lose. At least Mace kind of put up more of a fight, got him on the ropes a little bit more. I know Mace did have a series in the comics. Who was it? It was Owings, but it was mainly surrounding his time in the Clone Wars, which we did get him in the Clone Wars. We got that cool little Ryloth segment with him, but we didn't really get much else.
No, he's definitely a character they could expand upon that fans would not mind if they, you know, gave him his own comic series. Not even live action, but just gave him his own series, or he showed up more. I think people would respond to that well.
Oh, dude, I agree 100%, you know, and even if they could still make more Clone Wars episodes, you know? If they really wanted to do more spinoffs, they could make if the Bad Batch was so successful, right? A new group that just came in and completely blew fans away. The amount of fan reception that would kill for a Mace Windu kind of centered show, that would really be dope, you know, going behind the scenes on him. And then you'd get other people in the Jedi Council, because you would get Quinlan Vos, and then his Padawan, who is Aayla Secura, and kind of rekindling that whole little trio that they had going on in the Clone Wars comics.
Question about so and what about the Force lightning? Like, doesn't that like corrupt people? Like, even if they survive, doesn't that corrupt their soul or something?
So the Force lightning, and this is basically what I've learned from playing the Force Unleashed when I was a kid, is it's like transferring some of the dark side into you, I believe. So it's like, even though Yoda, because when you look at Yoda who absorbed it, right, it took like a lot of light in him to kind of push it aside, right? Because Yoda has the amount of power to absorb it, but he never redirected it. You know, like he would send it back, but he eventually like put it in his back pocket, you know, saved it for later. So that's a really interesting question. Who would you say is your most underrated character off the bat?
We'll get to that, but I'm curious about this Mace Windu stuff because because Mace got hit with Force lightning, right?
He redirected it with his lightsaber.
How did he get? Didn't he was like being electrocuted and they like tossed him out the window?
Yeah. Oh yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
But that killed him because he basically got hit in the head when he was flying into a building. Is he dead?
Maybe I don't know. Like, have you ever seen Fifth Element?
His pride is dead, but
well, Anakin thinks that. But you've never seen Fifth Element?
I've never seen Fifth Element.
There's a scene where there's like flying cars like in Star Wars and stuff. But she was like falling, like fell right into, maybe he fell into like a cab or something like that. We don't know. He could still be alive, but the actor who plays Boba Fett on Mando season 3 interlude has been saying he wants to see Mace on season 2 of Boba Fett. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Nice little rematch for the Revenge of Django.
I did hear about that. I mean,
I think that'd be dope.
I don't know. I'm not sold on Mace being alive. And by the way, for everybody who's watching, if you guys have your favorite underrated Star Wars characters, let us know in the comments below. We really do want to hear from you. If you disagreed with us in any part of the show, please let us know that as well. We are not experts as much as we pretend to be. We're somewhat experts, but not completely. But Mace being alive is kind of it's almost like in The Killing Joke. Did Batman kill Joker? Right? Did he snap his neck?
He did.
And I'm kind of like, maybe Mace did die. I kind of think he did. I mean, but we've also seen Darth Maul get cut in half and fall from a freaking building, and he still survived. But there was so much darkness in Darth Maul that kept him alive. My thing is, what was Mace's motivation to keep him going?
The Jedi were under attack, and he was about to put an end to most of nip the biggest threat of it in the bud, and he is ambushed by someone that he was against coming into the school or becoming a youngling, or what do they call him?
Oh, Jedi Master.
Jedi. Well, yeah, he didn't want him. He was like Anakin off rep in Phantom Menace. He's like, no, he's too old.
Yeah, from the get go, he didn't want him in. Okay, he didn't want to become a Padawan already, or
he's like that. Yeah, a Padawan. He's like, that's a liability. Like he's too corrupted. He's felt too much.
Seen too much at an early age.
Yeah. And he was right. He's like, that all came back, and everyone who they were hailing as like the one to bring
the chosen
balance to the Force, the chosen one, was the one who them over, So that could be a source of to get revenge, especially if he survived and saw that Anakin somehow he figured out Anakin was Darth Vader. He's been plotting just years. Maybe not even that far.
I don't know. My only thing is, okay, assuming all of this happened, he landed on a bike, he got his hand, but what would he be doing at the time, right? Because Yoda's chilling on Dagobah. If you really want to get into the Star Wars expanded universe, Quinlan Voss went full bounty hunter mode, rogue. Shaak Ti went into hiding. Who else survived the Purge? Not a whole lot of Jedi survived the Purge. Ahsoka obviously joined the rebellion, but she was not a Jedi technically. I wonder how Mace, because he didn't have his lightsaber, how would he have gotten off world to off Coruscant?
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he ends up opening a nightclub called BAMF, BAMF, and
Nightcrawler.
no, badass MFer.
Oh, badass motherfucker. Okay. Because that's
Shout
something
out.
to put.
That's something Sam Jackson does all the time. He has, but maybe it's something's changed. Like I don't know. Like he's corrupted so he's like doing something completely else. The same way they've turned Boba Fett into like Harley Quinn. Maybe he's a completely different character now. Like he was some mysterious dope Jedi, and now he's like some mediocre guy where someone's gonna come and pick up his show for him, possibly.
You never know.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. I would like to see it, but if they do throw Mace Windu in there, they would have to do a lot of explaining. So maybe we would get that animated series, but I don't know. I think there could be a comic book down the line explaining what happened if he's confirmed dead. But I think a lot of, to your point, it wasn't until after like Ayla, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Plo Koon all died at the same time for Yoda to recognize the disturbance. Like when Mace died, Yoda didn't really feel a whole lot, and that was probably the person he interacted with the most. So that is something that you had that
he didn't die.
That's the argument that'll back that up. I think that is the strongest point for that argument. However, I'm still not buying it. I don't know if I want to believe that Mace is alive simply because I think his story had a decent ending. He was right, and he paid for his life about it. He's always kind of a side character, but he was pretty dope. He's an underrated side character, and I wish they explored more of his past rather than extending his future. I guess
I can see that. Not to turn into a whole debate, but who would you have in mind for like a younger Mace? Would just do like, because of course they'd probably want to have it all tied together, so they'd want to do something live action, maybe a video game.
Oh, like an actor or like a voice actor?
Yeah, well, you don't know actors. We'll save that for another.
I was gonna say just keep the guy from the Clone Wars
for the voice. Yeah.
I was just gonna say keep that. Like that's like not even a question. I think they still did the same thing with Cad Bane. I mean, Katie Sackhoff came in to play Bo-Katan live action, so I mean, anything's kind of possible right now in the Star Wars universe when it comes to who they're doing with roles and what characters they want to throw in. Who would have thought? What's his name? Kurt. The Wookiee. How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, Black Kristan?
Yeah, Kristan. Who would have thought Kristan would have made it this far into the universe? He was kind of like a one-off character from the comics, and they turned him into a likable muscle in this war that's going on.
Santan? Something like that. I know.
Yeah, Kristan. But there's just a lot of interesting things about Star Wars that they can use, and it's just their growing universe. So I'm down for whatever they have to offer. Who is a character that you think is underrated?
Mace Windu. Underrated. I don't know. Mace Windu was like my go-to guy.
That was your go-to? My bad, bro. I think another character that's often overlooked is Dengar, the bounty hunter. So after Boba died, right, there is like Jango had his little ragtag group, right? And that was like literally the most underrated people in Star Wars. Like, I mean, Aurra Sing was never really underrated. Like everyone knew she was a badass. Bane, everyone kind of knew he kind of has that stage presence. Dengar and Bossk, and especially the GOAT of all of Star Wars, Hondo Ohnaka. Let's not forget about that man right there. They were kind of like almost Boba's caretakers for a very long time, up until he like went to jail and everything. But that was like kind of Jango's clique. So like when Boba was stranded, those are the people that took him in. Dengar was a mentor for him as a bounty hunter, right? And so was Bossk. So to kind of like build up their story, and then we saw them in Empire Strikes Back, and we never really got too much of Dengar. I think we got one episode of the Clone Wars where they were hired for a bounty, and Dengar's. I'm sorry.
sorry, not to interrupt. I something that ties into this, but a movie I've been wanting to pitch for a long time. All right, so underrated characters, right? Remember Planet Hoth, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now they had to find that planet somehow, like scouts, whatnot, whoever. Someone did set up base. Maybe it was like some regular rebels, from the Rebel Alliance. And with the Wampas, I want to see a Star Wars horror movie taking place from like the perspective of some rebels that land on Hoth, whatever, and they're like, yeah, this would be a good planet, set up shop, but they've
They
never
get
discovered the
attacked.
Wampas before, yeah, and Wampas are like stalking the rebels throughout the entire movie.
So it's basically going to be a colder version of Alien.
Yes, but in Star Wars.
What Star Wars? I'm kind of here for that because Hoth is kind of this weird planet. It was out there, but I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
Disney.
Wedge Antilles, main character. You can get Biggs Darklighter in there. You can even get that green leader dude who went full on kamikaze in the sixth episode.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Admiral Akbar, but I think Dengar and like all those bounty hunters who surrounded Boba, even like with his story, who is like that's now ongoing. That is the biggest reason why he is the bounty hunter he is today, is because of those guys who took him under his wing and mentored him.
Good choice, but another underrated, the Power Ranger gang in the Boba Fett show. I'm just thinking about how the bikes looked, but Boba Fett would have gotten his butt whooped if they hadn't been there to jump in and help him. So
right, and they basically raised him after Jango died, so it was like, obviously, like, they paid for him. They took him everywhere. And Boba saw a lot, like, that could kind of take a toll for someone who's basically a clone of his father. So I think Dengar's skills are really underappreciated. I wish we got more stories of how Boba grew up with them. We've gotten, like, little pieces. The great thing about Star Wars is a lot of times you can kind of put the pieces together and, like, create your own story.
Right.
But I would like to see kind of what, like, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau has to say about, especially now that they're kind of using spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett. They're using Cad Bane spoilers for 2 weeks ago or for last week. You guys have seen this Wednesday spoilers for last week. Now that they're using like Cad Bane, they're definitely like trying to focus around his mythos. So I would definitely like to see if we could get like a Dengar or a Bosk or a Forlom or Zuka. It's just people that were there since he was like a little kid. Obviously we know Ara's dead, but I think Dengar is really the real MVP of that group a lot of times, and I don't think Dengar gets a whole lot of love.
I don't know who Dengar is.
He was the bounty hunter with the white mask around, like the white little turban. If I showed you a picture, you would probably know.
Were you in a movie?
He was in Empires, like briefly when like they were on the platform, but he was also in the Clone Wars. He was also in War of the Bounty Hunter. He's been in the Bounty Hunters book. You're reading that.
Okay.
Another good one that I think. I'm sorry.
You said the Bounty Hunter book I'm reading, but I said I'm backlogged. So.
You're backlogged, forever backlogged. Another cool character that I actually really appreciate, that gets really undervalued, is Mon Mothma and Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, I'd agree. Akbar was always in the thick of shit, calling shots. He reminds me of damn it, I forgot his name. But in Battlestar Galactica, Admiral Adama's right hand man.
Yes.
Dude, like growling all the time. Akbar reminds me of him.
Right.
Yeah, but he's famous line, "It's a trap."
Right. Yeah, he's literally the gift king. But the thing about like him and Mon Mothma is they were really two of the founders of the rebellion. They branched out of the Republic. So escaping that, for people who are not really about violence, says a lot about their character. They've seen a whole lot of war. They've seen how you can make peace. So like they're always trying to settle for how can we win the trust of the people, still trying to spread our good message. But trying to be as peaceful, not violent as possible, right?
Yeah.
So I think Mon Mothma being that spokesperson is really big, especially because that paints a huge target on her back, and she's like constantly evading the Empire for the betterment of the galaxy, for the betterment of the people. She's fighting for the betterment of the people that she's protecting in her own rebel base, and she's a really, really strong leader. To see her in the Senate as like a young senator and then age up completely and then headlining everything in Rebels. We saw her in Rogue One. So I think Mon Mothma is a great leader, and she just does not get the credit that she deserves, mostly because she's a politician, you know. No one really likes to give any of the politicians other than Padme, I meant Natalie Portman, any credit at all. Or yeah, Bail Organa gets his dues, but not anywhere near Mon Mothma, and she was the only one of those to really stick around through all 6 movies. So
yeah,
that's definitely a big. I'm sorry.
And she was in Rogue One.
You know, she survived. She lived longer than some other people that get a whole lot more praise. You know, like Obi-Wan went straight into hiding. Right? That's not a knock on Obi-Wan, but Mon Mothma was always there. Her face was always shown, right? So when you put it like that, I think Mon Mothma was just an excellent character. And I think she is severely slept on.
I agree. I'll try to think of one.
If we're talking Jedi, I'd have to go Qui-Gon.
I swear to God, I was just gonna say Qui-Gon, but I was gonna be a troll about it. But I was gonna say, you know, he did bring destruction to the Force, you know, but he ended up bringing balance years later.
Right.
But no, yeah, Qui-Gon, definitely. Wasn't it like him and Mace that were kind of like the outspoken ones against the council and stuff like that, or?
Well, Qui-Gon was never on the council because he was so outspoken against them, because he disagreed with them and disobeyed them a lot. But
so he was like the rebel.
He was basically like the let me do now and apologize later kind of guy. You know, it's like if he was ever in a fight with somebody, he would punch first and then ask questions later.
So how did him and Obi-Wan have such a good friendship when Obi-Wan was so by the books? Was it like for the most part?
A lot of times, like with Jedi, like even Anakin and Obi-Wan contrasted each other, you know, and they were closer than ever. So like a lot of times, it's even like Quinlan Vos, Aayla Secura, Luminara, Barasafi, who turned to the dark side, like at the end of the Clone Wars. Anakin and Ahsoka were almost complete opposites in the beginning, you know. So a lot of times, like that master apprentice always to me kind of has that Batman Robin type feel. Like one is like the lighter version, one's the darker version. What was really cool about Qui-Gon's backstory is the reason why he was so against the council is because he was trying to study the living force, right? And that's how to become a Force ghost, essentially. So in the Clone Wars, he was the one when he died, he never achieved the full training, so he could only talk through the living force. He couldn't make himself appear out of thin air, right?
Didn't George Lucas retcon that though?
I'm not to my knowledge.
In like at the end of Revenge of or Return of the Jedi at the very end, like wasn't it? He added Hayden Christensen in instead of like the old Vader dude. But I thought they edited Qui-Gon in. Maybe
No, they didn't edit Qui-Gon in.
Okay.
Qui-Gon, through the living force, only appeared in a ghost form when he was training Yoda on Dagobah because that was a high force sensitive area. So he was able to pull a lot from that. But anywhere else, he couldn't do it. Whereas Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda ended up achieving that training. But that all started with him, in a nutshell.
So is that like when he died, did he pass the knowledge on to them or something? Or?
Yeah, so after he died, right, Yoda was trying to study the Force, right, to figure out who Darth Sidious was, right? So this is like the part of like the lost episode to the Clone Wars, so season 6. And the whole point of that was Qui-Gon like reached out while Yoda was in a bacta tank and ended up teaching Yoda how to do it. And then if you remember at Revenge of the Sith, he said to Obi-Wan, we have more training to do.
Yes.
That's what the training was for.
Oh, okay.
And I guess Anakin always learned it through Sidious. I mean, I guess when you learn from Sidious, you learn both sides of the Force.
Right.
But which is weird that he came back in his form as Hayden Christensen, not Darth Vader. Which I don't really have that backstory for, but that is pretty interesting how the two ties together, and that's all Qui-Gon. So Qui-Gon is definitely one of the more underrated characters. I think him and Mace are easily the top two underrated Jedi in my opinion, next to Quinlan Vos, who is another guy who went against the Council. Is basically like the next generation of Qui-Gon, even though they were Padawans, I believe, at the same time. But Quinlan Vos is dope, man.
Cast of Rogue One, underrated.
Oh yeah, especially that one rebel trooper who handed the disc off and then got sliced in half. Like that's really taking him for the team.
Those guys get remembrance or anything like that? No. No one knows about them.
No.
And what they did.
K9. Or no, what was his name? Cassian and K2.
K2, yeah.
Yeah, K2 is a G, man.
K2, I was gonna say K2 is the best droid ever. Alan Tudyk, stationed to Alan Tudyk. He's the best.
Yes.
He actually are you not watching the Peacemaker show?
I have not watched a single episode of Peacemaker, man.
Have you heard of a show called My Resident Alien?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
The main guy in that's Alan Tudyk. Genius actor, he's great. But he actually helped come up with the dance for Peace. I'm sure you've heard of the Peacemaker opening.
Right.
Yeah, he actually helped come up. His wife choreographed the dance for that show, but he helped come up with some of the moves.
Right.
Fun fact.
That's awesome. Yeah, Rogue One. I have to say Rogue One, probably my second favorite Star Wars movie. It's weird because it's like I don't want to count it as like canon, but it is also like such a well done movie.
It's crazy that to me, I think out of the Disney produced Star Wars movies, Solo and Rogue One have been some of the better movies that I didn't think were gonna be. Solo, I had no hopes for. Solo ended up being really good.
Oh yeah.
Rogue One, I heard a lot of because I follow movie productions and stuff like that, and I heard I know movies do reshoots, but there's like a lot of rumors that there's a massive amount of reshoots and like the studio wasn't happy. So I was like, oh no. Justice League, even though this came out before Justice League, but that's kind of like when Justice League brought in a new director less than a year when it was supposed to be in theaters, you knew it wasn't good. That doesn't bode well. But Rogue One ended up being phenomenal. Yeah, I think they're the better Disney made Star Wars movies. Second favorite though, it's a good movie. It was a good movie.
It's weird because like I really want to put it over Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. I really want to.
Revenge of the Sith. I can't. I don't know. I think Revenge of the Sith was a very strong movie. I mean,
it was. It was. That's why I'm like, But
yeah,
the reason why I put it over Revenge of the Sith for one reason and one reason only. This is the first time we saw the Empire not as a joke, right? Like you actually saw. This is the Empire. Like this is like we're flying into the heart of the Empire. We're scared shitless, and this is why we're scared shitless because they are going to kill us like crazy. Like they're ruthless, A lot of people were talking about underrated characters. A lot of people say the stormtroopers as an army are underrated because they kept the security of the galaxy for the Empire. But I can't support that because they got taken out. Their best squad got taken out by a band of Ewoks. So that really defeats the purpose.
Can't hit a shot for shit.
So yeah, but like this is like the one movie where they're like, nah, fuck all that. Like this is the stormtroopers.
You know the Star Squadron?
Yeah.
I think they'd be cool. Well, they're kind of underrated, but they'd be cool to be focused on more. I'd like to see more of them.
Oh, dude, I'm with you 100%. I think Thrawn needs to be focused on. I know we're going to get Thrawn in the Ahsoka show, but getting more Thrawn than we got in Rebels would literally be a dream, simply because I don't think a lot of people understand his backstory.
No, I was just because I want to hear what you have to say, but just for I had to chime in on that because I am the same way. Like I had always heard about Thrawn and how he's like, some people are saying like he's worse than Vader, and I was like, yo, but he's not force sensitive or he's not violent like that. So I was like, how is he worse than Vader then? Like, you know, so he's an intriguing character for him to have such a
reputation.
Thank you. Reputation, but not have what Vader has. So
right.
I've always wanted to know more about him.
Well, what's also interesting is at the time, if you look at anyone in the Empire, they're all human, right? For him to be an alien, a younger person, right? Because you had Admiral Yularen in the Empire, you had Grand Moff Tarkin, you had a bunch of other like older people that were in Palpatine's inner circle. For Thrawn to be an alien, to be a younger person, almost like a prospect, right? But like Admiral Yularen, who has seen the worst of the worst, right? Tarkin, who has seen the worst of the worst, to be afraid of this guy, their boss, who's like triple, like what? Thrawn could be like 24, they're like in their 70s, you know? That's just a rough estimate. Just to paint the picture. It's not right, it's just an estimate. But to me, that was really intriguing. Also because like aliens were put into camps. Like they were treated almost like they were in the Holocaust again.
You would want Thrawn, I'm thinking of the actors. You would want Thrawn to be like someone in their 20s. You see him as someone in his 20s.
I would say like someone in their early 30s who like has a young face. Like, oh, you know who make a good Thrawn is
the guy
Joseph
from Dune.
Gordon. Oh yeah, the guy from Dune would be dope. I was saying Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, I like
because he's shorter, and so Thrawn's like kind of shorter, but it's like that. He's quick, he's agile, he's a great tactician, and I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like his acting, he just shows a lot of wisdom in his characters. Like he always plays like a wise character.
Yeah.
Or like a character that like has good analysis of situations.
You like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right?
I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You should go watch Looper.
I should go watch Looper.
Have you seen it?
No, but I've seen Inception. You're like, I gotta give it to you.
But it's directed by the director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson.
Okay, I'll check it out. But
make an awesome live action Cowboy Bebop movie and or show.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch the anime of that too.
You have to watch everything.
I have to watch everything. That is, but Star Wars I'm on top of. If there's something I'll put to the
I'll give you that.
Star Wars is literally like my first love when it comes to this hobby. Star Wars.
Yes, Timothy Chalamet for Thrawn. Make it happen.
Or Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We'll take those two. Make it happen.
I'm a Chalamet stan, so I'm gonna have to go with him.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Thrawn would be a great asset, and I think that like people understanding that backstory would just help out a lot more into showing like why the Empire is the Empire, and a lot of that is because of Thrawn, right? People scared shitless of Thrawn, man. You know.
And so it's not even like, you know, it's almost like he's inadvertent, like not inadvertently, but it's like he's not physical like Vader is, you know. It's like
right.
I find that interesting. Like he's more methodical, and it's like he's like chess moves for him. How about how to mess someone up? And I find that, you know, interesting that people are almost feel more fearful of that sometimes than someone like Vader. Like, you know, someone like Vader who at the end of Rogue One, if you're locked in a hallway with him, it's gonna be scary.
Right. Oh yeah, they were all terrified, man.
Yeah.
You know, Vader's made to stand out in that terrifying form. Like that's just all part of the costume design. That's all part of like the gimmick to get people, you know.
All right. Sorry to interrupt again. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro.
I'll give you that Rogue One might be one of the better Star Wars movies ever made because of that scene with Vader. I'm not going to lie. I love that scene.
Oh, yeah. And Fortress Vader was a dub, too. That was a big W in the film. Fortress Vader is a big W. Like, for Vader fans, that's like the best Vader you've gotten. That's literally like, I mean, other than Anakin killing the younglings, that's like second best, you know?
Yeah, because it was implied in Revenge of the Sith. We actually got to see it in Rogue One.
Yes.
But I remember being so messed up about that scene, and when I saw it in theaters, I was like, yo!
I was like,
Master Anakin, what do we do? What do you say? They're here. You just
like,
see the
oh,
pet.
Master Skywalker.
Yeah.
There's too many of them. What are we going to do? Oh my God, where did that go from?
Lightsaber. The little boy, the Padawan jumps back.
He like stepped back. Oh my God, I can quote Revenge of the Sith.
Order 66. I love that scene too. That was a cool scene.
Oh yeah, with like Cody just turning on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. I love that whole little sequence because like at the end, just Yoda just knowing like, oh shit.
You just felt the loss around the galaxy, man.
Right. If we're gonna talk about one more character that I think is underrated. By the way, if you guys stayed for this far with the video, make sure you guys check out everyone else in the PCP Army Bad Batch today. It's Whiplash Wednesday. Everyone's links are in the description below. Station to everybody checking out the video. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you like this kind of comic book content. But is Sabe, Padme, we were talking about Revenge of the Sith, right? So we're let's talk more about the prequel. Sabe is Padme Amidala's double, almost. She's literally like the person who's posing.
She's the one who
as
tests the food, right? To see if it's poisoned.
Basically, she's literally like the human target. You know, she's the one that like, if they're flying somewhere, she takes the role of Padme, right? Or if they're going out in public. So, I'm sorry, you couldn't pay me enough to do that shit, man. So I give her all the credit in the world. You know, without her, there is no Luke and Leia babies, right? Because Padme would have been dead like 3 times over already. Probably not by the hands of Newt Gunray either. But talk about an overrated character right there. I can't stand Newt Gunray. But Sabe is like, come on now. Like, she did die. She died in, I believe, Attack of the Clones, like the opening scene. No, that was Corday. But Sabe is her doubles. No, Sabe stayed alive. No, Sabe's alive because in the Vader series by Greg Pak, she's still up and running. Yeah, Sabe's still alive, man. But still, you couldn't.
Was it as Amidala?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's literally her double. Like when they went to Naboo for the Gungan War, she was the one who was
when Padme died after giving birth.
No, that wasn't no. But when Padme died, like Sabe.
Funeral for my bad.
Yeah, so like Sabe looked identical to Padme. So like when Vader saw her following Padme's death, it like triggered that reaction. Right. So like part of the Greg Pak run is like she led this little uprising against Vader and he basically killed him. And Sabe escaped.
Sabe did?
Sabe escaped. Yeah, she led this little uprising because she was pissed.
Nice.
But just imagine like being a double for someone. I'm just like, I couldn't do it. So like I give her all the credit in the world. I think that's a very underrated factor. The amount of time she saved Padme, come on now. Like she's not doing anything like Max, you know, everyone's favorite musician in the Star Wars universe, but she's really putting in that work for the greater good, and that's not to go unnoticed.
Yeah, like I said, she was willing to die. She didn't, but can we spotlight Jar Jar?
Can we spotlight Jar Jar?
You don't think he was underrated?
I think this man literally gave supreme powers to the Chancellor and fucked over the whole universe. Like, that's what didn't bring balance to the Force.
No, did you ever hear the theory that Jar Jar was meant to be the Phantom Menace? Like there's a big rumor going on that, you know, because of the backlash George Lucas got from Jar Jar, that's why Count Dooku came out of nowhere in Attack of the Clones. Like that was meant to be Jar Jar, you know, but because the fan response was so bad, he ended up just coming up with someone new for Attack of the Clones too. But imagine like that fight between him and Dooku in Attack of the Clones. Imagine had that been between Jar Jar and Yoda, like 2 bouncing creatures. Jar Jar looking kind of evil. Like
I have ADHD. People bouncing everywhere would not work well with me.
I think that would stimulate you even more. But I think that's it seemed like that could have been a possibility for sure.
I think Count Dooku, it's weird. His character is so weird to me because I think he's underrated, but he's also really overrated. Like people, if you look at Count Dooku, he was a puppet, right? At the beginning, he was great, right? But then people were like, oh, Count Dooku's great. Count Dooku's great. And then he just got his ass handed to him. He never completed a job, you know? Like, that's the one thing about Count Dooku is you can never say, like, anything he did successful, right?
At least Jar Jar helped out.
Yeah, at least Jar Jar helped out, you know? Dooku kind of, like, was more of, like, the puppet figure, but he kind of felt like he had everything handled, but he didn't.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I've never understood how Dooku gets a fan base. He's underrated in the fact that like what he did was like he was like everyone thought he was that guy, but from the story standpoint, we never really got that he's that guy kind of mentality or like preparation. I would even say like he's always underprepared. Your best general is the most unprepared person on the planet, General Grievous.
Yeah.
You know, for someone with 4 arms, you know, yeah, you'd think he'd be a little bit more prepared, but
He was overcompensating. That's
right.
throwing up.
But if we are going to talk about anything else that's underrated, is every single space battle I feel like goes so far like under everyone's radar.
Like the ship battles and stuff.
Yeah, I love the space battles, man.
It's fun. But I came to see lightsabers and blasters, and but no, the space battles are fun.
Yeah, man.
Underrated.
Do you have any other characters you want to just put under the spotlight?
There's a character, he's actually really underrated, called Tim Drake.
Oh, the second. I love how you're talking about the second best Robin.
I'm talking about the best Robin.
I know you're not.
But we'll inform the people on the best Robin some other time, though.
Maybe. I'm looking forward to that one. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. You guys stay tuned for more content. Follow us on IG, Instagram, or obviously
all the social medias.
All the social medias, they're all in the description below. Take care, you guys. Have a happy Wednesday. Hope everybody got their books. If you're catching this, whenever, again, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Goes a long way. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Station. And let's get this roll call going. I got to scroll all. Actually, let's just end it. We're going to get the roll call going. Here it goes. 3, 2, 1.
You know, let's go, baby.